Good morning. We got up this morning and had a nice little relaxing breakfast. Used our oven for the very first time for some tasty cinnamon rolls. Those grand cinnamon rolls are something I missed as we were traveling around the world. They're not Curt's favorite, but every once in a while he has to eat them because I like them. Had some coffee, sat around, just relaxed, walked the kitties, and I just kind of chilled out because it is my birthday weekend. And I am super excited because we have a big, exciting night out on the town. We're going to the big city of Gainesville, and you may notice I have some Gator attire on. So, you'll have to come along for the ride to see what we're getting into for my birthday and Aunt Betsy's birthday. We're only 3 days apart. So, let's go get Aunt Betsy and get on the road, head to Gainesville. Time to go. After a great start to the day, we're heading into the heart of our birthday celebration. We're at Yamato's Japanese Steakhouse in Gainesville, and the energy in here is just perfect. We started things off with a proper birthday toast. Curt and I had a glass of wine, while the other birthday girl, Aunt B, went with a non-alcoholic pina colada. There's just something about the atmosphere of a hibachi grill that brings people together. We sat down at the traditional cooking table and immediately started chatting with our neighbors. One neighbor had her 2 young girls with her, and they were having a girls' night out. Now, these girls were absolutely fascinated by our camera. They couldn't stop peeking at themselves on the screen. It's those little candid moments that remind me why I love filming our lives. Our chef for the night was Colin, and he did a great job of keeping the table entertained while he worked. The conversation at the table was fun and lively, and as you can see, the food looked and tasted delicious. Now, I've mentioned that Aunt B and I have birthdays that are just a few days apart. And now that we are back at home, it's fun to do something special together. But as I sat there, I started thinking about just how much this lady truly means to me. Most of you know us from our years traveling the world in our Sprinter van. But you might not know the history of how I got here and the people who actually helped to raise me. I don't usually dive too deep into the heavy family stuff on this channel, but I think it's important for people to know that I didn't have a typical family environment growing up. I was estranged from my mother for most of my adult life, and my childhood time with my mom was not traditional, to say the least. Now, she has been passed away for many years now. And as for my father, well, we never really had a relationship at all until just the past few years when I tried to forge some kind of a connection. It wasn't your typical father-daughter bond, and it certainly wasn't easy, but it was an effort I felt I needed to make. And I have an update on him closer to the end of the video. But because of all that, my grandma and my Aunt B were the ones who filled those shoes for me. Now, my grandma passed away many years ago, and I still miss her like crazy. But so much of her lives on in me, from my love of travel and my obsession with the Florida Gators. But Aunt B, she's the one who really stepped in as not a typical mom, but a mom-like figure for me. She was the one steering me in the right direction through those tough teenage years, even when I was too young or too stubborn to listen. I even lived with her for a bit during my first few years of college. She is a special lady, non-judging, incredibly smart, and she has the heart the size of Texas. Now, she's been through a thing or two in her life, and she's picked up on many life skills because of it. During our trek through South America, Central America, and West Africa, and our years of just circling the globe in the van, I know I gave her plenty of scares, but she never stopped supporting us or loving us through all of those wild adventures. And now, here we are, back home in Chiefland, living right next door to her. Getting to share her with Curt has been such a gift. He always knew she was special, but now he's experiencing it firsthand. Whether it's late night talks at her house while we're watching Gator basketball and yelling at the refs, or just been watching a series we picked out together, there's nowhere else we'd rather be. She didn't know this until recently, but the last thing my grandma ever said to me was that when the time came, I would need to take care of Aunt B. Now, don't get me wrong, she is perfectly capable of taking care of herself. But Curt and I are so happy to be here right next to her for whenever that day does come. We absolutely love this lady to pieces. But enough of that. Now it's time that we finish dinner and we need to head on out to phase 2 of our birthday night out on the town. After that yummy dinner, we're headed straight to the O'Connell Center. Tonight is a massive game for the Gators. We're taking on Arkansas, another ranked basketball team, and the stakes couldn't be higher. We're nearing the end of the season and everything is coming down to the wire for playoff seeding. If the Gators win tonight, they'll actually clinch the SEC championship, something we haven't done since 2014. Now lately, we've been watching all of the games with Aunt B at her house, so it felt only right to celebrate our birthdays by actually being here in the stands. It really is a family affair. We've bumped into some family friends that are sitting right behind us, and if you look right over there, that's my Aunt Nancy. She's a season ticket holder and usually comes with her daughter, my cousin Michelle. Tonight, my sister-in-law Molly is joining them too. In this part of Florida, Gator basketball isn't just a sport, it's a tradition. Now you can feel the electricity in the air tonight. The student section is absolutely fired up, and even the old alumni are showing some extra spirit. ESPN Game Day is even here because this is a primetime matchup everyone's watching. I wish I could play the hype music for you. The music and the chanting is deafening, but I don't want to get flagged for a copyright violation here on YouTube, so you'll have to just trust me. This arena is hopping. Now, while I love this entire team, I have a major soft spot for our center.
The center, a 6-foot headed shooter from Nigeria,
Ruben Chinilu. He's a junior now, but I first started following this journey last year while Curt and I were driving through West Africa. Ruben's story is just incredible. He grew up in a small village called, now bear with me, I know I'm going to say this wrong, Enugwu Agidi in Nigeria. And he didn't even start playing basketball until he was 14. He was actually helping out at his brother-in-law's clothing shop in the capital city when a woman walking by saw his height and told him, "You should be playing basketball." Well, that one chance encounter changed his entire life. Last year, when the Gators were on their run towards the national championship, Curt and I were actually driving through Nigeria. We realized we were probably only about an hour's drive from the very village where Chinilu grew up. Having driven through those rural parts of Nigeria ourselves, we have a unique perspective on what his childhood might have actually looked like. Seeing him go from a small boy in a small Nigerian village to where basketball courts are few and far between, to an NCAA champion and a star here in Gainesville, well, it's just moving. It reminds you that no matter how far you travel or where you start, passion can take you anywhere. And the Gators did it tonight, guys. They took down Arkansas 111-77. Seeing the confetti fall and knowing we've secured a piece of the SEC title is the best birthday present me and Aunt Betsy could have asked for. After the high energy of the Gator game yesterday, we're slowing things down tonight. It's Sunday evening and we've gathered at my niece Harley's house for a proper family birthday cookout. This is exactly what I pictured when we decided to settle back down in Florida. We've got the whole crew here. My sister Molly, my niece Harley, and her husband Art, and my nephew Max with his wife Allie. There's something so grounding about a Sunday evening in the backyard. The grill is going, the smell of hamburgers and hot dogs in the air, and we're just soaking it in, a beautiful Florida sunset. It's simple, it's quiet, and it's exactly what the soul needs. Of course, the real stars of these family gatherings are my great nephews. We've got 3-year-old Hayes and 2-year-old Hudson, or Huddy as we all call him, running around and keeping us all on our toes. For the past 6.5 years, Curt and I have been incredibly blessed to see the world. We've had birthday celebrations in some of the most exotic, breathtaking locations on the planet. And don't get me wrong, having Curt by my side through all of that was amazing. He's my rock and the best partner I could ever ask for. But being on the road for that long means you miss out on the everyday milestones. You see photos of these boys growing up on a phone screen, but you aren't there to hear the giggles or to see them learn to run. Celebrating in a van in West Africa, it's an adventure. But celebrating here with the people who share your history, well, there's just no substitute for that. Watching Hayes and Huddy play while the sun dips below the tree line, it makes every mile we drove worth it, just to end up right here. As the evening wound down, we topped everything off with a perfect birthday cake, and the family gathered around to sing. It wasn't a fancy gala or a 5-star resort, but with a belly full of grilled food and a heart full of love from these boys, I couldn't have asked for a better way to ring in another year. Coming home to Chiefland wasn't just about leaving van life behind. It was about running towards moments just like this. That is how you cook a hot dog right there. I don't know who's gonna eat all those other ones. But Art burnt mine for me. Special request.
God is great, like us for food. Amen. Boom!
That is a good one.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Won't you come and sing with me?
Are you gonna help me blow them out? Oh, they're gonna burn blue flames? Well, they are.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Snow. Happy birthday to you.
All right!
Blow it.
Get it. Oh, there. Oh, no, it's still there. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it's still there. Yay! After a really fun birthday weekend, it is now Monday morning, and G has already had his walk. We've got birds on the TV, a fort built for him, fresh food, fresh water. Curt's out on the porch, and we are headed to Gainesville. We got a few errands to run this morning. First thing we got to do is go by an office, a FedEx, a shipping office, and send our CDP back, our Carnet de Passage. Now, if you followed our journey through West Africa, you know that that's a document that's kind of like a passport for the van. And when you get one of those, you have to put down a big deposit, especially here in the United States. Vans registered in the United States are required to put down even a bigger deposit than most other countries around the world to get this passport for their vehicle. But we are done with it. We now have the documents that say the van has returned to its home country here in the United States. We got that document when we picked the van up from the Jacksonville shipping port. Now we send all that back to the CDP company, and they'll send us some of our deposit back. Not all of it, but some of it. So that's exciting. We don't know how long it'll take, but we should get a couple of grand back. So that'll be a good thing. So we're gonna ship that off. We need to go by where we bought the oven from and drop off the check. We gotta make sure we get those guys paid for getting that done. And then we head to Gainesville because I'm going to meet my brand new full-time cardiologist today. So I've been to many cardiologists around the world, but never had my own cardiologist. So today we're gonna go meet Dr. Green. Get him all my reports from the last few visits to cardiologists around the world, and just kind of get set up with him. So that'll be kind of nice. And we got to get on the road because my appointment is at noon. All right, the CDP is FedExed. It should get there in 3 days, and we'll see how much money they give us back. How much money you think they're gonna give us back, Curt?
I think we had to put like a $7,000 or $8,000 deposit, and I think we're gonna get 5 of it back.
$5,000 would be very helpful right now, wouldn't it?
Be big time helpful.
One of the things that I want to do is to get to know our local area. And well, Snow already knows a lot of it. I mean, she grew up here, and now she has been gone a long time. But some of these places have changed over the years. For example, we're here at a park. What park is this?
Well, Fanning Springs State Park is just over there. This is like just a rest stop to walk down to the river. I don't think this is officially part of that state park.
So anyway, you guys can see it's a nice little park, maybe just a little city park or whatever. But anyway, they've got, looks like bathrooms, and they've got the picnic tables and a nice little bridge to walk down here to the Suwannee River. And of course, whenever you come down through here, you always are on the lookout for gators now. It really hasn't heated up yet, so that's when you tend to see them out here sunning on these logs or what have you. But maybe we'll get a little peek at one today.
And the river is really low. And this time of the year, it's normal for it to be low, but I think it's a little bit lower than average for this time of the year. Normally, the river would come all the way up to the tree line here.
And there you can see all those old steps right there. And so, you know, you guys know Snow is kind of ancient, and maybe you do or don't know, she just had a birthday. And so when she was here last time, they probably, she was using those stairs.
You're so funny.
Hey.
Right, so on that side of this bridge, we call this the Suwannee River Bridge, is Levy County. Now that's where Chiefland is, and that's where I grew up. This side of the bridge is called Dixie County. And when I was young, the two counties stayed away from each other.
Big rivalry.
I don't know why, it was just a big rivalry.
Cross-river rivalry.
So this bridge was also very symbolic. Now, right over here, I don't know if we'll be able to see the entrance, but if you come on your boat, you can enter into Fanning Springs. We'll take you there when it gets a little warmer. It's still a little cold for going to the springs. I don't see any gators. That don't mean they're not there. Yeah, I can see the opening, but it's just because I know where it is. I doubt y'all could pick it up on the camera. But it's about a football field down there, and you can pull into the springs. It's got a beautiful high dock you can jump off of, which I may be too old to do now. We'll see. But anyway, more of the Suwannee River. Now, right around this river curve, when I was younger, we had family friends that had a house there, and we would come up here in our boat, and we did a lot of tubing right through here. I've had many tube crashes on this river right here. All right, we dropped off the check at the appliance store. We headed to Gainesville, and I went to see my new cardiologist. Now, for the past 6 or whatever years, well, no. The past 3 years since I had my heart attack, I've just been seeing cardiologists in whatever country we've been in, and haven't really had a cardiologist that's 100% focused on me and my long-term plan. So now that we're home, that was something we needed to do. And this cardiologist was my dad's cardiologist, my Aunt Betsy's cardiologist, and my grandma's cardiologist, and he came highly recommended. So that's where I made my appointment, and I went in there today, and the first thing I loved about it, is it's a little bit of a smaller office with just the one doctor and a couple assistants, not one of these big corporate things. And that's something that I was very excited about. And then the doctor came in, Dr. Green. He was fantastic. He spent time with me. He asked questions. He knew my father. He knew the family. He was personable, and he had already done a lot of research and read my reports that I had sent him from Morocco, Turkey, and South Africa, so he would be up to speed. He asked all the right questions, and one thing that made me very excited is he said, "You have seen really good doctors around the world because the care that you have gotten, the medicine regimen you are on is spot on. It is exactly what it should be." And I knew that, but it's nice to hear a doctor here in the States say that. He's going to do a high-tech fancy cholesterol test for me, but other than that, everything I've had done is good. I will go back and see him in a few months or whatever, but I now have a full-time cardiologist, and that is good news, and I am really, really pleased with him. So that is a relief for me, and it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable, because as I age, the heart is something with my heart failure condition that I'm going to have to pay more attention to. So thumbs up for my new cardiologist, Dr. Green. Now we're going to go in and get a bite to eat and then head home. But before we do that, Curt went on in to get a table, and I have not updated you on this because I've told y'all in some past videos, my father is a very private person, and we were going through some very difficult times. And what I haven't told you is that, 2.5 weeks ago, my father passed away, and we've had the funeral. We're working through all that stuff. We're finally starting to get back on track. If I've seemed a little disengaged in the videos, just know that my dad had a rough ending at hospice, and it was difficult because he was battling some nasty cancer stuff. But he has no more pain, so that is good. And I am not gonna cry because I promise you I've cried enough. And but now you guys have the update. So okay, we're gonna go have some lunch.
Good morning. It's a big day today. Today we are getting the van prepped up for a road trip. It's time to go see my parents, and the only thing standing in our way is getting the final preparations for the van. We do have to hook the electricity up still, and then finish tidying things up inside. We really want to bring the kitties. We don't want to leave them here, but also they're loving it here so much. We're a little conflicted. So we're gonna take them on a little run today and see how they do. But meanwhile, I had to get Gia a walk this morning, and then yeah, we gotta get the van ready to get on the road. So let's do it.
If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys!